That same weekend, the president was in Baltimore. He had a speaking engagement addressing a delegation of dentists.
Anyway, I took my seat at the banquet table next to Mrs. Mao. Now, one of the difficulties of being president is the endless round of social events, banquets, cocktail parties, and so forth. But people who know me will tell you that small talk is not my strong suit, especially not in Mandarin. Mrs. Mao and I just, we stared at each other. And across the table, Chairman Mao himself and Mrs. Nixon, well, they stared at each other too. And down the way, Dr. Kissinger, and therefore, you begin to get the picture. Anyway, this particular dinner, I'm not sure what event it was in the Chinese Communist calendar we were celebrating, probably some uprising on some upper Mongolian agricultural collective. But between the interminable silences and the inedible food, the thing went on for some 5 hours, and it quite threatened to derail the excellent progress we made earlier that day in the talks.
Afterwards, in the dressing room.
I can't stand it, Jack! Reducing the presidency to a series of banal anecdotes? I feel like a circus animal doing tricks, and I thought I told you, I didn't want to take any questions on Watergate. Damn it, the minute it came to question time, the only thing they wanted to talk about was Watergate. It's as if all my other achievements failed to exist.
Well, you're going to get your chance to talk about them sooner than you think.
How?
Frost got there. He got the money.
Really?
I hear most of it's borrowed, that friends have bailed him out. But the point is, we start taping end of March.
How much of it's devoted to Watergate?
25%, just one of 4 90-minute shows.
What are the other 3 divided into?
Foreign policy, domestic affairs, and Nixon the man.
Nixon the man? As opposed to what? Nixon the horse?
The man is some kind of biographical piece, sir.
Yeah, the father who neglected me, the brothers who died in infancy, leaving me with survivor's guilt, spare me. Still, the fact that this has come together is a good thing, no?
Mr. President, it's fantastic. Frost is just not in your intellectual class. You'll be able to dictate terms, rebuild your reputation. If you ask me...
What?
If this went well, sir, if enough people saw it, revised their opinions, you could move back east. Way, way earlier than we expected.
You think?
I'm certain.
Oh, Jack, San Clemente's beautiful. I love it there, don't get me wrong, but it would be great to be back where the action is. The hunger in my belly is still there. There are things to do, there are books to write, lectures to give, politicians to advise, meetings with foreign leaders. I guess it all boils down to Watergate, huh?
Yeah, nothing to worry about. It's not like there'll be any revelations. That stuff's been combed over 1,000,000 times by journalists and congressmen. No one's managed to pin anything on it.
Still, it's been a long time since I spoke about it on the public record. I better start doing my homework. And it'd be good to know what his strategy is. Where's he staying?
At the Beverly Hills Hilton.
Beverly Hills Hilton, you say?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got the names of some fellas that we could send in there. They're Cuban fellas with CIA background. Jesus, Jack, it's a joke.
Yes. Of course, Mr. President.
I'll have a cheeseburger.
Sounds good. I used to love cheeseburgers, but Dr. Lundgren took me off of them. Switched me to pineapple and cottage cheese. Calls them my Hawaiian burgers, but they don't taste like burgers at all. They taste like styrofoam. I hope I'm not disturbing.
No.
It's Friday night. You must have someone there whom you're entertaining?
No.
No? A young man, a handsome young bachelor alone on a Friday night? What are you doing?
But if you must know, I'm preparing for our final interview.
Ah, the all-important final interview.
Yes.
Watergate. Should I be nervous?
Well, going to give it my best shot.
That's right. No holds barred. No holds barred. You know, it's funny. We've sat in chairs opposite one another now, talking for hours, it seems days on end, and I've hardly gotten to know you. One of my people in preparation for these interviews did a profile of you, and I'm sorry to say I didn't get around to looking at it until tonight. There's some very interesting stuff in there. The Methodist background, modest circumstances, then off to a grand university full of richer, posher types. What was it, Oxford?
Cambridge.
Did the snobs there look down on you too? That's our curse, isn't it, Mr. Frost? No matter how high we get, they still look down on us.
I really don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, come on. Sure you do. You know exactly. No matter how many column inches are written about you, or how many awards, or how high the elective office is for me, we still feel like the little man, don't we? The loser they told us we were. The smart asses in college 100 times. The high-ups, the well-born, people whose respect we really wanted, really craved. And isn't that why we work so hard now, why we fight for every inch, scrambling up in undignified fashion, whatever hillock or mountain it is? Why we never tire, why we find motivation or energy when a regular person, a sensible person, would just lie down and relax. If we think about it for a minute, if we take just a moment to reflect quietly, if we allow ourselves a glimpse into that shadowy place we call our souls, isn't that why we're here now? The two of us, looking for a way back, into the sun, into the limelight, back onto the winner's podium, because we could feel it slipping away. We were headed, you and me, for the dirt. Place the smartasses always told us we'd end up face down in the dust. Humiliated all the more for having tried so pitifully hard. Well, the hell with that. We're not going to let that happen to either one of us, huh? We're going to show those snobs and choke them on our continued success. Our continued awards and power and glory. We're going to make those motherfuckers choke, am I right?
You are. Except only one of us can win.
Yes. And I shall be your fiercest adversary. I shall come at you with everything I've got. Because the limelight can only belong to one of us. And for the other one, it'll be the wilderness. With nothing and no one to listen to but these voices ringing in our head. You can probably tell I've had a drink. Not many, just one or two. But believe me, when I wake up tomorrow, I will be focused and ready for battle. So good night, Mr. Frost.
Good night, Mr. President.
What did you do, Jack? Take pity on me, throw in the towel?
I just felt if you were going to make some kind of emotional disclosure, we should just take a moment to think it through. Sketch it out. I just want to impress upon you how crucially important this moment is and how many potentially devastating consequences unprepared emotional disclosures could have.
I know. But to go on like this, denying it all, I'm tired, Jack. Thank you. Thank you forever.
He's coming back, those bastards. Just be careful, David. They'll come up with something.
Don't worry, it's fine.
They'll have had a chance to prepare. We won't know what they're
It's
thinking.
all right. He wants me to do this. Finish him off. He wants the wilderness.
5, 4, 3.
Mr. President, we were talking about the mistakes you'd made. And I'm wondering, would you go further than mistakes? The word that seems not enough for people to understand.
What word would you express?
My goodness, all right. Since you've asked, I think there are three things the American people need to hear. Firstly, there was more than mistakes. There was wrongdoing. Yes, it might have been a crime too. Secondly, I did abuse the power I had as president. And lastly, I put the American people through 2 years of agony, and I apologize for that. And I know how difficult it is for anyone, and especially you. But I think the American people need to hear it, and I think that unless you say it, you're going to be haunted for the rest of your life.
It's true, I made mistakes. Ones that did not rise to the level of the presidency. Ones that did not rise to the level of excellence I expected as a young boy. But you have to remember, it was a difficult time. I was involved in a 5-front war. I had a partisan media, a partisan House of Congress. But yes, I made mistakes, and I was involved in a cover-up, as you call it. Now, for those mistakes, I have a deep regret. If you want me to get down on the floor and grovel, no, never. But they were my mistakes, and I don't blame anyone else for them. I brought myself down. I gave them a sword, and they stuck it in, and they twisted it with relish. I guess I'd have done the same thing.
And the American people.
Well, I just hope I haven't let them. I let them down. I let down my friends. I let down my family. I let down the country. And worst of all, our system of government and all those young people who now would think that they would like to go into politics, but they're afraid to because they think it's corrupt and the rest. Yes, I let the American people down. And I'm going to have to live with that for the rest of my life.
The first and greatest sin of television is that it diminishes, simplifies. Great, complex ideas, trenches of time, entire careers become reduced to a single snapshot. Perhaps that's why I didn't understand Bob Zelnick's euphoria after the interviews. Or why John Burt felt compelled to strip down naked and go running into the ocean to celebrate. But that was before I understood the reductive power of the close-up. Because David had succeeded on that final day in getting something that no investigative journalist, no state prosecutor, no judiciary committee, no political opponent managed to get. And that was Nixon's face. Swollen and ravaged by loneliness, self-loathing, and defeat, filling every television across the country. The rest of the project and all its failings would not only be forgotten, they'd cease to exist.
Can I ask you a question? Those parties of yours that I read about in the newspapers, do you really enjoy those?
Yes, of course.
You do, really? You don't realize how fortunate that makes you. To have that facility with people, that likeness, that charm, to like people and have them like you, I never had it, never have. Makes you wonder why I chose a life that hinged on being liked. Huh? I'm better suited to a life of debate, intellect, and rigorous scholarship. Maybe we got it wrong. Maybe you should have been the politician and I the rigorous interviewer.
Maybe.
Did I really call you that night?
Yes.
wonder, did we talk about anything important?
Cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers.
Despite being buried with full honors in 1994, Richard Nixon never held public office again, nor did he achieve the rehabilitation he so desperately craved. Today, his name is synonymous with corruption and disgrace. It seems that his lasting legacy is that any political wrongdoing is immediately given the suffix "gate."